Welcome, everyone. This is the Jenkins Documentation Office Hours. It's the 23rd of January. Thanks for being here. Topics for today include Contributor Spotlight, Contributor Summit, blog posts, recent releases, and Alpha Omega project idea, plugin developer documentation. Chinese documentation site is one that I added for discussion. And then I don't have anything to share on recent work and nothing changed on Blue Ocean. Any other topics we need to add to the agenda before we start on these topics? Okay, then let's go ahead. So first, contributor spotlight. You can see the current spotlight, James Nord. Thanks, James, very much for allowing us to interview you. Thanks to Kevin for doing the interview. And excuse the sneeze. All right, so next is Kosuke Kawaguchi. And Kevin has interviewed and working through the details to try to get it ready. We're going to switch to a monthly cadence there, and that's going to continue. Next topic then is Contributor Summit. So Bruno, how about let's give you the floor here. Share with us what the current ideas are and how we're getting ready.
So the agenda is still in draft mode. In fact, we had planned report in the morning, the officers' reports, the infra, security, documentation, and so on, and then two slots for the SIG report, so platform SIG, and the other one I forgot about. And then we would have lunch, and then the afternoon we had planned breakout sessions, people talking about how to maintain Jenkins and its plugins, a workshop, not a workshop, a breakout session about the infrastructure, another one about the security, another one about what could be Jenkins 3. But lately, I've seen at least two people asking for a reduced time for the reports in the morning. We had scheduled around 3 hours of reports, and I saw eyes rolling, oh, 3 hours of report, no way. So we are going to maybe 2 hours of reports at max, and then letting more time for people to discuss the subjects that we had planned. So security, infrastructure, maintenance, and Jenkins 3. The outcome that we expect are, first of all, having people to discuss face to face. Maybe we won't get any new ideas, any new product, any new way of working. Maybe not, but just getting the people face to face and having some time to discuss important subjects that matter to them and to the rest of the Jenkins community, that's already a nice outcome. If ever we were having something like we had the previous year, like the public plugins health score. That's an idea that emerged from a contributor summit, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe we'll have something along this way. And I'm expecting lots of positive outcome from the maintenance track because we have the key people in there that will be able to discuss what they have discovered, what they have experimented with, and how they envision the future. I think the key players being there, the outcomes will be awesome. So, for the people who won't be there, no, this won't be streamed. This is not a hybrid contributor summit. This is a face-to-face contributor summit. But of course, you'll hear about the outcomes later on. So, in the end of the day, each of the breakout session manager or leader will have 5 minutes to tell us about what are the outcomes of that. And then in the evening, we'll go share a dinner so that we can continue discussing about what we've been discussing the whole day, or maybe something completely unrelated. Anyway, we'll have some fun and spend some quality time with quality contributors. Thank you, Mark.
All right. Questions from others on the contributor summit? Okay. Actually, I realize with Chris here, we've got a gap in our agenda. Oh, and maybe this is the right place. We've got blog posts here, and the message here is that we've got a call for mentors out. Google Summer of Code is on. right? We have announcement from Google that says, yes, it's happening. We're now in the preparation period where the Jenkins organization admins, Chris, Bruno, Alyssa, are preparing our application to submit to Google Summer of Code. And it's due to them, if I recall correctly, roughly
February the
mid-February.
11th, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
early February. Great, thank you. So now, if others have anything they want to share in addition to that, we've got. I'm happy to hear. Otherwise, the other blog post, the 2024 year in review. Thanks very much to Kevin for assembling it, for all those who assisted in its review. And Bruno, thanks to you for the Alpha Omega project update. Is
Oh,
there
you're
anything
welcome.
you wanted to highlight specifically on that one? The project has concluded now, so maybe you want to give us a brief overview.
So this 3 months project has allowed us to deliver more than 40 releases of plugins that were not compliant with the CSP. And this has been quite a journey, I would say. Basil worked on finding the plugin that needed the most help. Daniel Beck helped also with that, and we had Shlomo Dahan and Yaroslav Afenkin doing the grunt work and getting plugins up to date, and then applying the modifications to get them CSP compliant. There are still quite a few plugins that haven't been updated. I would say the PRs have been created. They haven't been reviewed, of course, because most of them are plugins who have lost their maintainers along the way or are way too old or whatever. So some plugins are still stale, I would say, but we started with the most installed plugin and then went down until we reached 9K or something, maybe 8K installation. So I would call that a great success. Along the way, we created some tools to help. And I think a next possible phase would be the integration of CSP more tightly into the Jenkins core. We'll see if that is possible, if ever we were to get another funding from the Alpha Omega Foundation. In any case, thank you so much to the Alpha Omega Foundation for helping us tightening screws regarding Jenkins security in the plugins.
Thanks, Bruno. Thanks very much. All right, and next topic then is on releases. The latest LTS release 479.3 is out, following a really healthy pattern here. When we look at the upgrade guide, it tells us no major changes, no changes that need an upgrade guide. So the .1 release that did major things is looking really good. We're very, very grateful to Basil Crow and to many others, to Adrien Le Charpentier, many others who helped with getting through that major transition to Spring Security 6, Eclipse Jetty 12, and Jakarta EE9. This was an amazing upgrade and it's working. So thanks. Great story there. Next LTS is coming and the release candidate is available now. Testers are welcome and encouraged. I've already started testing it and others we hope will do the same. Kevin submitted the changelog pull request and he made a note here. Here's the text of it. He made a note in our notes that he had to do one workaround. You'll notice this very topmost entry under enhancements, changed since 2.492. We actually had no backports. Right now, it looks like there won't be any backports, but I did have to disable a particular test because we had an infrastructure change that exposed this problem, and I'm not going to fix the infrastructure in time. The infrastructure won't be fixed in time, so we're just going to disable that test. I ran that test on multiple Windows machines, passes on all of my Windows machines, but ci.jenkins.io shows this failure when running in a virtual machine, doesn't show it when running in a Windows container. Yeah. Any questions on the upcoming LTS? Okay. So weekly releases look good. Next topic was the Alpha Omega documentation project idea. Meg, this was one that you and I had discussed, and I've submitted the proposal to Alpha Omega. I've not seen a response yet. I submitted additional information 3 days ago. If I still haven't heard anything by next Friday, I'll discuss it with Michael Windsor at Jenkins Contributor Summit since he'll be there.
Okay.
So the idea is still we'd like multiple tutorials that show end users how to use open source security tools to address the kinds of things that OpenSSF and Alpha Omega want to encourage people to use.
Sounds good.
Great. Thanks, Meg. Thank you very much for your help. I'll keep you informed.
Did you say that Darren's done a video for one of these?
He has, yeah.
Is
So he
that
did.
is that available?
It is certainly, yeah. So I'll put it into these notes actually because here, let's just do it like this. Darren Pope, generate SBOM with SIFT, SYFT. Here it is, how to generate a software bill of materials with SIFT. And so I'll just put this into the notes, Meg.
Okay, I could check that out then.
Or here, let's do it this way. Darren Pope video as a starting point. Yeah.
Cool.
So for me, that already says we've got some thought around how this can be done with Jenkins. The challenge is it's likely specific to one narrow technology, and users don't just use one technology with Jenkins, right? There are many of them
Right.
who have all sorts of interesting, challenging, different. In fact, we just had a question in one of the public forum locations that asked, hey, how can I generate an SBOM for my Jenkins controller's installed configuration?
Oh,
So Jenkins controller plus all of its plugins, show me the SBOM for the entire thing. It's like, oh, that's an interesting. So, this is some sort of an installed and running SBOM, not as built SBOM. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting idea. So all sorts of people who want to know what the composition is of a particular set of software.
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
And earlier today in Gitter, I think I saw Hervé Lemaire citing a feature from Docker BuildX that allows the creation of an SBOM in an image. And Hervé was hoping that Docker BuildX would go into what's installed Jenkins in the container and then tell us what's inside the Jenkins war. And Damien came afterwards and say, I don't think that will happen. That would be too good to be true, but hope is a good thing to have.
Right,
Anyway,
right.
SBOM is a real subject.
Right. Cool. Any other questions or comments on the Alpha Omega project idea?
Mm.
Okay, so next topic was plugin developer documentation, and this was one that Antoine Neveu had brought, and Kevin has deferred it. I think we'll likely make some progress on it because Antoine very much is interested in this. It's just I'm not sure he's available to attend this particular session today. So for me, it's hopeful, but there's an awful lot of work here that's needs a mixture of people with developer skills and people with writing skills. So yeah, and it's best way to address it, I think, is do a lot of work, right? And that's write the documentation, but the write the documentation task is a lot of documentation work. All right. I've got a new topic that's sort of an old topic. Okay, so we have the Chinese documentation site. Let's see, Jenkins.zh, I think is what it's called. No,
Hadn't we,
Jenkins.
kind of stopped it, archived it, or?
No, actually we didn't. It was on the plan to archive it. So
Oh,
so it's on the plan to archive it. So there's the Chinese documentation site, and then there's this Chinese localization plugin that provides a localized experience for Chinese users in mainland China. So this is simplified Chinese, not Chinese as used in Taiwan. So this is Chinese as used in Beijing and Shanghai, etc. The challenge here was, okay, my thought was, hey, the documentation site, this site, is badly out of date, right? It's
Mhm.
not had an update in multiple years. And so a crucial challenge then is the installation instructions are just wrong because we've significantly changed our installation instructions since this was last translated. However, the other instructions on the site that had been translated are not terribly far out of date. Now the question then becomes, is it better to retire this and rely on people to use Google Translate to translate web pages on the fly, or should we keep it and accept out of date is better than non-existent, even if for the install instructions they're just wrong? So here I'm open
I
to, actually,
yeah.
we've got a Chinese speaker in the group. Chris Stern, can I lean on you as a Chinese? Now, admittedly, you're based in Hong Kong, right, Chris?
Yeah,
So this is probably not entirely applicable to you since you're in a region of China that has English as a very, very strong influence, right? I mean, hey, it was an English territory for 100+ years.
I think so.
But I would love your opinion. Do you think that the Chinese users prefer, is it a common pattern? Oh, open an English web page and click the translate to Chinese button, or is it better for us to have the native translation even though it's out of date?
I think we could like have plans to update it, but I'm not sure if that's what we want to do. I could help with it if I have the bandwidth.
Yeah, my worry was I'm not sure that in terms of your time, I'd rather not spend your energy because you're so precious to us for Google Summer of Code, that for me it's not that crucial to us. I am very impressed with how many users there are, how many installations there are of the Chinese localization plugin. Roughly one third, no, one third, one quarter, or let's look. We'll get the exact percentage. Over 20% of installations of Jenkins controllers worldwide have the Chinese localization plugin installed, which hints they may in fact be running Chinese localization. So 50,000 running, but I don't want to take, Chris, your time is so precious for us with Google Summer of Code. My thought was either we retire it or we consider, hey, is there something else we could do that would machine translate the English pages to Chinese and present the machine translation? I don't know how good are machine translations generally, Chris? Are they quite bad when it comes to Chinese?
I think you would need someone to audit it. Audit it.
Okay. So machine translations are certainly not good enough for a blind publication without a native Chinese speaker reviewing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Well,
That's
that's good to know.
interesting.
Could
Yeah,
we put a
yeah.
banner on the page that warns people that the material is out of date? I mean, there's another possibility here that the technical community that works with Jenkins itself is pretty much English speaking, but they have users who are not, and they're running localization for their
Ah,
users.
right.
So
That
it
could
may
be.
be that, I mean, we've had that in various countries over the years on various products. We were going nuts to translate everything, and they were like, "Hey, we all speak English. We go to the English page," but they needed the localization for their users, just so the error messages came
Mm,
out and stuff.
makes sense.
So if the software is localized, Meg, your point is the software is probably much more important to be localized than the documentation.
Possibility.
Yeah.
I,
Okay. I see
I
your
have no
point.
extra, but I mean, that is a possible scenario.
Right.
But I
Um,
wonder what would happen if we put a banner at the top of those pages asking people to contact us with input on this or something like that, or I don't know, we could even set up a little Survey Monkey questionnaire or something and say, click here to tell us what your needs are, or
Invites, right? Okay, that invites users. Yes, that invites users to answer a survey.
If
yeah,
that's available in China.
right. Oh,
I don't know.
It's a good question. Is it, would the typical survey sites be blocked in China completely, right? Will the Great Firewall block them? Yeah,
but
good.
Taiwan would probably get it. And
Yes, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure that, given that this is simplified Chinese, I'm not sure that the Taiwanese will even use it. I thought
right,
they preferred Chris, help me again. Isn't it that simplified Chinese is for mainland and the alternate form is used in Taiwan?
Yeah, so we use the traditional kind of
Oh,
Chinese, but
okay. So in
we
Hong Kong, do you use traditional?
there's a tendency for some people to simplify because they're from mainland China originally.
Okay.
Sometimes officially it's traditional.
Oh, okay. So the Hong Kong officially uses traditional Chinese.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. Didn't know that. That's even more clear then. So Hong Kong, in terms of the script, is closer to Taiwan, what they use in Taiwan than it is to what's used in Beijing. Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Do we have the button or the link at the back of each and every page saying edit this page, or leading to a pull request of some sort? Can people modify the pages in the Jenkins Chinese website?
I
I
thought they
can't read
could. I
Chinese,
thought
so I don't
that
know.
this was the edit this page link. No, that's all blogs. Oh, here it is. Improve this page. So yes. So
Okay,
each
because
page does have an invitation at the bottom of it that takes them right to the source code for that page.
my point of view is that it's better to have a vastly outdated website with a edit that page than nothing or an automatic translation, because you never know, people could want to participate and modify, put the thing up to date. You never know. I know that does not happen, but it could happen.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna counter that. I think we've got data to some, at least some sample of data to tell us whether or not people are actually using that. So
Nice.
here is the repository, the Chinese language sites repository, separate repository. Last commit was 3 years ago.
Mm.
Okay, so no commits in 3 years, and the last substantial commit that's not from a bot was, here we go, a typo fix from Triple Z 4.5 years ago.
huh.
And then another change that I don't know, I don't read the Chinese, so sorry, it's my guessing that this is something, but that's again 4.5 or 5 years ago. So my hunch is the improve this page link is not being used,
Yeah,
right?
indeed.
Given this, it's just not being used. Now that doesn't stop us from putting a banner at the top of the page encouraging people to use the improve this page, or to tell us that they want it to continue. Maybe could be that simple, saying, hey, click here if you think, we're planning to retire this site, click here if you'd like us to not retire it. Something that simple, right? A
Right.
little counter that says, somebody gets to say, no, please don't retire this. Okay, good. That tells us something.
Do any of our access statistics enable us to identify whether somebody's from Shanghai, Hong Kong, or Taiwan?
They might, but the extraction effort would be significant,
Yeah,
because we don't publish, we don't allow widespread access to what IP address are things coming, what is the source IP address of our request. We've got those as far as I know, but we don't allow them outside.
yeah,
I mean, Google Analytics would be another one that we could conceivably attach Google Analytics to it and watch the analytics.
yeah.
All right. Well, you've been very patient. I wanted to hoist the question. I think we've got two ideas here, and those two ideas are worth at least considering. Alternatively, add a banner that asks them to vote, that warns the site is being deleted. The site will be removed, and invites a vote to keep. All right. Now,
Yeah.
that kind of thing, another alternative, I guess, is to add Google Analytics and watch the analytics. Anything else we need to discuss there? This is not, I'm not expecting a closure, just that wanted to bring it, that realized, you know what, maybe with 58,000 installations, retiring the site needs to be reconsidered.
Yeah, we don't have any sponsor in China, do we?
No, we don't.
Okay.
That's an interesting idea. Should we ask some of the large Chinese organizations, hey, why don't you sponsor Jenkins as an open source project? But I'm not sure if they have a pattern of supporting open source projects outside of China anyway.
Yeah, okay, because I had a stupid idea, which was, what about extracting the current version of Jenkins.io and putting it through automatic translation process in order to have a vastly incomplete and non-working Jenkins.io website for Chinese, and then try with the help of a sponsor to get it correctly translated by a Chinese speaker.
Well,
you know.
see, and that's what they did when they started this site.
Oh, okay.
Is they took the base of Jenkins and Jenkins.io, and then they did Chinese language translation. So
And
all
then,
of these
yeah.
pages started with Jenkins original material or English language material, and then it was translated to Chinese. So this is the
Okay.
Maven tutorial, if I remember right. And yeah, exactly.
Chris, when you glance at this, I mean, does it look just terrible to you in terms of the Chinese, or is it?
Chris,
Yeah.
you're muted.
And I'm not even sure if the
Oh,
text is big enough.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Chris,
Um,
the question was, does this look like a reasonable Chinese translation to you?
hmm, let me take a look. Just like it does, but I'm not sure how outdated it is.
Oh, we know it's 3 or 4 years outdated. So that part, we
Yeah.
know
I
how
just
that it's badly outdated. I think
It's
Meg's question
just
was,
okay.
was the translation quality when it originally was created reasonable to what you see?
I think it is reasonable in terms of like what they do in China, but it's like depends on where you are, but I think it's okay. Yeah.
All right, good. Thank you. Thanks very much.
I know I've used Google Translate on a couple of things from Vietnamese, and it's just appalling. You cannot make any sense at all out of what is, and it's this, I don't know, it's like this 18th century or something. I mean, it's what's there is when somebody then tells me what it actually meant, you go and you can kind of see the outlines of that in the English, but
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's certainly, I'd say let's leave this as a topic for future discussion, and we then consider, hey, shall we revisit it? There's no way we could start the removal of that site for right now. There are too many other things that are much higher priority. So this is not an immediate threat to us.
I'm thinking like maybe we can do some automation for translation, like some part of it, but we definitely need some human input at some point along the line. But like if we can automate most of the updates, will be good.
Okay. Well, so then if that's the case, maybe should we consider, this is one I've not thought of, should we consider a funded, Jenkins funded, so project funded translation?
Even surprised you didn't talk about LLM there, Chris. Just kidding.
Does GSOC operate in China? Or any
Uh,
Chinese speaking areas.
well, certainly in Chinese speaking areas, Chris is in a Chinese speaking area,
Right.
Oh.
but I don't know if they're willing to pay into mainland China or not. Are they, Chris?
Not sure about it.
Because I know
Hong Kong and Taiwan. Taiwan
our
has universities.
oh,
Yeah.
certainly.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems to me that that would be a good GSOC project. That would be something that a student could do without having full knowledge of the project to clean up the translation.
Yeah,
Ye-
if we do like Google like season of dogs, that would work too, but I'm not sure if Mark is interested.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Google Season of Docs isn't a fit here because they want things where we use a professional high skills writer to do something crucial for the project. That might be a Google Season of Docs actually might be a place where Meg would be a good candidate for it.
Yeah, but
But
she can speak Chinese.
a Chinese
Yeah.
translator would not be a good candidate for Google
Not
Season of
yet,
Docs.
at least.
Yeah.
Right. All right. So I think I'm comfortable with the topic thus far. Thanks very much. I'd propose we leave blue ocean deprecation. Any other topics we need to discuss before we end for today? All right, then let's go ahead and call this an end. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.